Yeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati neshtiki Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Caitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirviseshasha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let's continue with the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 7, on Text 10. We continue with that. Yad arthena vinamusya pumsa atma viparyayaha pratiyata upadrashtuhu swashiras chedanatikaha. The living entity is in distress regarding his self-identity. He has no factual background, like a man who dreams that his head is cut off. So we are always in distress regarding our self-identity. Who am I? What am I doing here? What is this universe all about? I don't know if you all have had these questions. What's happening? How did I come here? Where am I going? A teacher in school once threatened his pupil that he would cut off the pupil's head and hang it on the wall so that the child could see how his head had been cut off. The child became frightened and stopped his mischief. Similarly, the miseries of the pure soul and the disruption of his self-identification are managed by the external energy of the Lord, which controls those mischievous living entities who want to go against the will of the Lord. Actually, there is no bondage or misery for the living entity, nor does he ever lose his pure knowledge. In his pure consciousness, he thinks a little seriously about his position. He can understand that he is eternally subordinate to the mercy of the Supreme, and that his attempt to become one with the Supreme Lord is a false illusion. So what is being said here? Maitreya Muni is saying that what is our distress is because we have forgotten ourselves. Who am I? And now Prabhupada is giving the example that there is a naughty boy in school and the teacher is saying, oh, if you are not going to behave properly, I'm going to cut your head off and then you can see how you have your head has been cut off. But you see, isn't it a paradox? How can we see if our head is cut off? Means the head has not actually been cut off, right? Otherwise, how would you be able to see it? Similarly, this material energy, we are thinking that we are this body. Actually, we are the pure soul. It's just that our misidentification. And then because we think we are the body, then starts all the miseries. Because the body is under the laws of the material nature. under the laws of goodness, passion, ignorance, under the laws of karma. So we are pure. The soul is always pure, always pure. What happens is when we want to misuse our independence, we have this free will, a tiny bit of independence. And when our desire, instead of enjoying with Krishna, when it changes that, who are you? I don't want to know you. I want to enjoy by myself. I can do it by myself. Then what happens is immediately our ignorance, that is our ignorance. And then we are in bondage. We feel that we are, but actually there is no bondage for the soul. Nothing can bind the soul because we are spiritual, not material. Our bondage is that our desire. What is our desire? I want to be supreme. I want to be the supreme. I want to control. I want to enjoy. I want to own. So, but when we, what is said, in his pure consciousness, when he thinks a little seriously about his position, he can understand that he is eternally subordinate to the mercy of the Supreme. And that his attempt to become one with the Supreme is a false illusion. So we just try to analyze. If we try to analyze, is it really that I can control? What is it that I can control? How many things can I control? And is it that my control is all, like a very strong control, or is it like a tiny control? What is my control about? What about my enjoyment? I am going mad after enjoyment. But am I actually enjoying, or these things which I'm thinking are going to make me enjoy are actually sources of my misery? So what's happening? And then if we really introspect, we will come to the understanding that, oh, I'm not supreme, I'm not controller, I'm not enjoyer. And owner, we all say, oh, we are not going to take anything when we leave from the world. But that's just, we say it. Do we feel it? We feel and act as if everything belongs to us, So life after life, the living entity falsely tries to lord it over material nature and become the lord of the material world. But there is no tangible result. So we have been doing this for millions of lives, falsely trying to lord it. Means we cannot actually control this material nature. We can't. We can't even control our body. We don't say, oh, the food, now it's going to go in this food pipe, then this acid has to be released, and then this digestion has to happen, and this evacuation has to happen. No, it's automatic. So, but we are trying it. But till now, none of us have become the controllers. None of us have become the owner. At last, when frustrated, he gives up his material activities and tries to become one with the Lord and speculate with much jugglery of words, but without success. So after repeatedly trying to enjoy, when realizes, oh, there's all frustration here. There is no happiness in this material world. So then, but the desire is still there to be supreme. So what does the speculator say? Okay, right now I'm under the control of Maya, but after I give up this body, I will become the supreme. I am going to become one with the Lord. I am actually one with the Lord. You, me, everyone is actually one with the Lord. That's because the desire to be the supreme is so great. But it doesn't mean that they're really going to become the God. Nobody can become God. Only Krishna is God. So these activities are performed under the dictation of the illusory energy. The experience is compared to the experience of once having his head cut off in a dream. The man whose head has been cut off also sees that his head has been cut off. If a person's head is severed, he loses his power to see. Therefore, if a man sees that his head has been cut off, it means that he thinks like that in hallucination. Similarly, a living entity is eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord, and he has this knowledge with him. But artificially, he thinks that he is God himself, and that although he is God, he has lost his knowledge due to Maya. This conception has no meaning, just as there is no meaning to seeing one's head being cut off. This is the process by which knowledge is covered. So what is our illusion? Our illusion is that right now I'm not God. My power has been taken away because now I'm in this Maya. But once I get out of this Maya, I will become God. That is same as the example is given that we are seeing our head cut off. But if our head is cut off, how could we see it? It's not possible to see the head. If we are God, it's not possible to forget we are God, It's not possible. So that's the example that's given. That it's such a ludicrous thing to say, oh, I've forgotten I'm God. And then, but actually deep down, we know that we are subordinate to the Supreme Lord, because that's our original position. And this is just our infatuation that I want to be God, I want to be God. That's just the infatuation that we have. And because this artificial rebellious condition of the living entity gives him all troubles, it is to be understood that he should take to his normal life as a devotee of the Lord and be relieved from the misconception of being God. So because we are trying to be God, all of our lives are full of miseries. How can God be suffering? How can God be frustrated? And that means we are not God. And so what we should do, we should take advice from the devotees, from Krishna's instructions, from Srimad Bhagavatam, and take up the process of devotional service. Take to his normal life as a devotee. Why? Because that's the natural position. This is our natural position, to hear and chant about Krishna and be relieved from the misconception of being God. Then what will happen? We will be situated in the truth. Oh, I'm not God. I'm a servant of God. Otherwise, we are thinking, oh, I have to worry about this one. I can control this one. I have to control that one. And are we able to maintain even ourselves that we are thinking we'll be able to maintain others? So we are unnecessarily taking the burden on ourselves. The so-called liberation of thinking oneself God is that last reaction of avidya by which the living entity is entrapped. So that's what is said, that the last snare of Maya. How does Maya catch us? I am God. That's how. Because why? Because that's our desire. The conclusion is that a living entity deprived of eternal transcendental service to the Lord becomes illusioned in many ways. Even in his conditional life, he is the eternal servant of the Lord. His servitude under the spell of illusory Maya is also a manifestation of his eternal condition of service. Because he has rebelled against the service of the Lord, he is therefore put in the service of Maya. He is still serving, but in a perverted manner. When he wants to get out of service under material bondage, he next desires to become one with the Lord. This is another illusion. The best course, therefore, is to surrender unto the Lord and thus get rid of the illusory Maya for good, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.14. So what is happening is we are saying, oh, I am God. I want to be God. I want to be the one to enjoy. I want to control. I want to own. I don't want to serve. Why should I serve Krishna? Who is he? But okay, so we are saying we don't want to serve Krishna. But what's happening? We are not serving Krishna, but we are serving Maya. How we are serving Maya? Because we think we are the body. So we are doing so much to keep this body as comfortable as possible. And yet, how much ever we try, some or the other discomfort comes, either mental or physical, or by somebody else, or through some natural disaster. No matter how much we try. But we are continuing to serve this Maya, thinking, I am God, I'm supreme, I can control, I'm controlled. But actually we are serving. Then how is it that we are God? How is it that we are supreme? So then the next stage is the Jnani, what he says, okay, I'm not going to serve Maya anymore. Then I will become God myself. Right now I'm serving Maya, but I will stop serving Maya and I will become God. But that's also not right, because till now, that's not our correct position. So what is our true position? It's just to surrender to the Lord. There's no way, there's no other way. There is no other way. That's why it says, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Eva Kevalam. There is no other way, no other way, no other way to God realization rather than chant the holy name. So there is no other way than to surrender to the Lord. Devi esha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. Krishna says that this divine energy of mine, he's saying about this material world, material energy, he's saying it's divine. Why is divine? Because it belongs to him. This divine energy of mine, he's saying this is my energy, not somebody else's. He's not saying your energy, his energy, their energy. He's saying my energy. Mama maya duratyaya is very, very difficult to overcome. Very difficult. But one who surrenders unto me can very easily cross beyond it. So if we really want to get out of this material world, the only way is that we take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. And then what does that mean? Chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Hear it. When we are chanting, we should hear the mantra with all sincerity. Hear from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. By doing that, gradually, we will be situated in our true position. We will be able to see who we truly are. Any questions, comments? Because this is the foundation, the reason that we are here and what we are doing, and how can we get out of here.
But this is this seems so important.
Yeah, it is.
It is, in the sense that, yes, we need to believe that Krishna is there for us always in all situations, and we just need to trust him.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, previously when I used to go in the parties, and when we used to come back home, then it used to be ke aisa hua, aise hua. We used to discuss about it, ke aisa hua, aise. But slowly and gradually, when I started chanting, then I thought that why we need to bring the garbage home with us? Why? What for? And it's their life. What will I do after discussing about anybody, even talking a single word about anybody? What can I do? I cannot do anything. I'm just getting involved in their karmas. So I stopped. It was very difficult in the beginning. Very, very difficult. I still remember I used to control myself, और अंदर से एक आवाज आती थी कि बोलो, बात करो. But I used to say no. I used to just sit and chant. I said, मेरे को दिमाग ही नहीं लगाना, मैं जाकर आ गई, खत्म. I don't want to bring the garbage home with me. And now, slowly, with the mercy of all the devotees and Krishna, it has come to the point कि अभी भी मन होता है. Still the urge is there because it is Maya. We are entangled with it. But then I'm reminded कि क्या करना है तुम्हारा, थोड़े ना तुम क्या कर लोगे? Who are you? You're not that God कि तुम उसको जाके बोलोगे कि ये सही कर, वो जो जी रहा है उसकी लाइफ है. And then finally, now only with the mercy, I can just hold a little and I don't speak. We don't talk a single word. Whatever it's left, it's left. It's done, it's done. And it's so peaceful because we are not, whatever has happened has happened. If we bring the garbage home with us, then definitely we are going to stink because the garbage is in our house. Wherever the garbage will be, you will stink. It will spread a smell. So rather bring the happy moments that, oh, itna acha tha. If you want, otherwise don't talk only, there is no need. So, that Krishna is there and we try to be God, and that is so true. And still we want to control, still we want to control. That is,
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
it's really so good. Like, if we realize, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing your realization and your experience. It's true because we have this desire since millions and millions and millions of births. It's very deep into our heart, although we might not consciously realize it, but it's very deep in our subconscious. That's the reason we need to hear and chant with so much attention, so that gradually, this artificial things can be cleared out of our consciousness, artificial desires which we have created for ourselves. These are all artificial desires. Thank you for sharing your experience and realization. Reading on, text 11. Yatha jale chandram masaha kampadis tat krito gunaha drishyate asan api drashtur atmano anatmano gunaha. As the moon reflected on water appears to the seer to tremble due to being associated with the quality of the water, so the self associated with matter appears to be qualified as matter. The Supreme Soul, the personality of Godhead, is compared to the moon in the sky, and the living entities are compared to the reflection of the moon on water. The moon in the sky is fixed and does not appear to quiver like the moon on the water. Actually, like the original moon in the sky, the moon reflected on the water should also not quiver. But because of being associated with water, the reflection appears to be quivering, although in actual fact, the moon is fixed. The water moves, but the moon does not move. Similarly, the living entities appear to be tainted by material qualities like illusion, lamentation, and miseries, although in the pure soul, such qualities are completely absent. So the example is given that the moon in the sky is not shaking, is not trembling, as we see. If we see the reflection of the moon in the water, it appears to be shivering, moving, shaking. Why? Like we see ourselves in the mirror, when we see ourselves in the mirror, we see exactly as we are. We are not shaking there, but here in the moon is appearing to be shaking. Why? Because of the water. That's the quality of water, not that the moon has taken on that quality, but it's just the quality of water that it is not still. It keeps having these small movements. Similarly, we, the living entities, are all pure souls. Any soul is pure. When we say soul, means pure. But right now we are all covered. Right now we have covered. And what's that covering? So the example is given that if suppose we have a gold ring and it falls in the sewer, and then it gets coated with all the dirt and the muck. So does it mean that the gold has been transformed into dirt? No. It's just that the gold ring has been covered by the dirt. And if we clean it, the gold will shine again. So the gold is still there inside. Similarly, we, the soul, we are all pure spirit souls. But right now, because we are thinking we are the body, we have taken on all these different qualities of illusion and lamentation and miseries. In reality, in the soul, this doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. All this is because of our desire. What's our desire? Why is Krishna God? I should be God. Why is he the one to be enjoying? Why should I serve him? People should serve me. Everybody should serve me. For this desire, which goes against our nature. Our nature is actually, we are truly blissful, very happy when we are together connected with Krishna. That's the experience we get. The more we hear and chant, our heart feels satisfied. There's something in the heart feels, nice. It doesn't give a rise to fear and anxiety as the material world does. So is that okay? It's not that the soul has become mixed with something. No, it's just our consciousness gets tainted. Yeah, our consciousness just gets covered by this artificial illusion, lamentation, miseries. The word pratiyate, which means apparently and not actually, like the experience of having one's head cut off in a dream, is significant here. The reflection of the moon on the water is the separated rays of the moon and not the actual moon. The separated parts and parcels of the Lord, entangled in the water of material existence, have the quivering quality, whereas the Lord is like the actual moon in the sky, which is not at all in touch with water. The light of the sun and moon reflected on matter makes the matter bright and praiseworthy. So the example is that the moon in the sky is the Supreme Lord. We are his energy, so we are the moonshine. So the moonshine is reflected in the water. But the reflection in the water seems to be quivering. But the moon in the sky is not quivering. Same way, Krishna is never covered by Maya. He's never ever covered by Maya. But we, what about us? We are very tiny, we are insignificant, infinitesimal, very tiny. And then we have this quality that we come under Maya. Yeah. The living symptoms, the light of the sun and moon reflected on matter makes the matter bright and praiseworthy. So the Krishna, he's there in each and every heart of ours as the Paramatma. The living symptoms are compared to the light of the sun and the moon, illuminating material manifestations like trees and mountains. The reflection of the sun or moon is accepted as the real sun or moon by less intelligent men. And the pure monastic philosophy develops from these ideas. So then what people say, that even the reflection is real, but it's a reflection. The real thing is in the sky. Similarly, this material world is a reflection. The real world is in the spiritual world. In fact, the light of the sun and moon are actually different from the sun and moon themselves, although they are always connected. The light of the moon spread throughout the sky appears to be impersonal, but the moon planet, as it is personal, and the living entities on the moon planet are also personal. So the same example is given here, that as the Supreme Lord is realized in three features as Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Lord. Brahman is the light coming from him. Paramatma is his Paramatma feature as the super soul sitting in everyone's heart and in every atom. And his supreme person, that he's the Supreme Lord. He's in Golok Vrindavan and in every of the Vaikuntha planet. So the comparison is given to the moon. The moon is there, the moon planet. There are living entities also in the moon. And the sunshine which is coming from the moon is different. is the moonlight. It's simultaneously one and yet different. The moonshine, we also call it as the moon. So we, the living entities, are parts and parcels of Krishna. The light of the moon on the Taj Mahal appears to be more beautiful than the same light in the wilderness. Although the light of the moon is the same everywhere, due to being differently appreciated, it appears different. Similarly, the light of the Lord is equally distributed everywhere, but due to being differently received, it appears to be different. One should not, therefore, accept the reflection of the moon on the water as actual and misunderstand the whole situation through monastic philosophy. The quivering quality of the moon is also variable. When the water is standing still, there is no quivering. A more settled conditioned soul quivers less, but due to material connection, the quivering quality is more or less present everywhere. So the idea is that we are not God, we are parts and parcels of God. And because we are tiny parts and parcels, we have this tendency to come under Maya. But the Supreme Lord is never under Maya. And we, in our true position, also, we are not covered by Maya. This only because of our desire that we are thinking I can do the, I am the Lord, I'm the enjoyer. Because of that, we have this covering. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Any comments or anything to add? If no, then we can stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.